SS Cog. Hopefully we don't die.
Well, that was Fred, our engineer, sounding the horn to let us know. He's got the pedal to the metal! And this is our top speed, believe it or not. This is all you're going to get today. Anybody know what our top speed is? About 4 or 5 miles an hour. So you don't have to hold on to your hat. No whiplash lawsuits here, buddy.
We're going all the way up there.
Just remember, I control the weather, okay? Yeah, you and me. So this afternoon, I'm going to start off by telling you some history of our White Mountains. If we go back well over 1,000 years ago, the original inhabitants of our White Mountains were the Abenaki Indians. They were here for centuries and centuries before anybody else. And by the late 1700s, a family named the Crawfords settled up here when there was nothing but wilderness. And they built the first road to connect Vermont and Maine. And that opened up trade and commerce and modern-day civilization. So for about the next 50 years, people lived up here called the home, slowly but steady. And by the 1840s, the railroads arrived up here. And they were coming up through New Hampshire north to connect Canada to many of our major cities in the Northeast. And that was our big boom up here in trade and commerce, and a lot of cities and towns popped up. And what else? Industry located up here. And so that was our big boom when things really took off. But something else happened around the same time, and that was the discovery of tourism. Now back then, the only people that could afford to come up here were the wealthiest people in our country. These are the families of the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Morgans. They all come up here by regular train. Now keep in mind, no cog railway, only a couple of roads, no hotels, just wilderness. And they would ask to be let out, and they would wander out in their woods. They'd go hiking, although there were no hiking trails back then as well. They would go fishing out here and on streams, and they'd go hunting for food. And
To the top of Mount Washington we go.
And they would go camping. That was the beginning of camping in New Hampshire. Now, that didn't last very long, at least originally. And it wasn't very popular with the ladies. Can you imagine Mrs. Carnegie or Mrs. Vanderbilt out there laying on a damp ground in a tent? They said, forget that, they had all the money in the world. And over the next 25 years, they built 33 grand hotels. We had so many wealthy people coming up here. They built 33 grand hotels, including the Mount Washington. How many of you are familiar with the Mount Washington Hotel? We had 33 of those, several of them even bigger than the Mount Washington Hotel. They're on both sides of the mountain. And there was even a grand hotel on our center for 100 years before the current visitor center. And these people would show up by train, they check in for the whole summer, they bring their trunks just like they did on the Titanic, and they bring
By the way, this is a 45-minute ride.
And once they got settled in, they threw their money around, trying to outdo and outspend each other. And next thing you know, it was nicknamed the Gilded Age of the White Mountains up here. At the beginning, this was a playground for the rich and famous. Regular people could not afford to come up here. Now that all changed after the Great Depression and the popularization of the automobile. For the first time, a lot of regular people were coming up here. In fact, more than rich people. And before you know it, there were a lot of low-cost hotels and motels that sprung up for that new market. And the wealthy people who are now driving up here in their fancy LaSalles and Cadillacs, they no longer wanted to stay the whole summer. They had the mobility of their automobile. So they just checked in for a couple of days, and then they would drive to Montreal, or they would drive over to Port Maine or Portland, or drive down to Boston. Next thing you know, all of the occupancy rates in our Grand cars plummeted. They couldn't cover their costs. They were like 3/4 empty. And over the next couple of decades, all but a few of our Grand hotels ended up going out of business. Now, tourism has continued to evolve over the last 100+ years to what it is today, which is New Hampshire's #1 industry, also our largest revenue producer. So while I'm at it, I'd like to thank all of you for coming up to the White Mountains today, riding on the Cog Railway, especially those of you from another state, helping us keep that state income tax away. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to tell you some history about our Cog Railway. This is a really fascinating story. This all began with the birth of Sylvester Marsh in 1803, down by Waterbury Valley, our farm. From the day he was born, he was an entrepreneur. As an infant, a toddler, and a young adolescent, he was always taking
This
things
should
apart,
not be
putting them back
possible,
together
but
again.
due to the American ways,
When he got to be in his
we have
early
made
teens, he was a
it.
whiz kid at fixing all the farm equipment.
This is the right angle of the way we are going.
His parents knew he
Look
had
at the
something special
trees.
going on.
They go
So they
sideways.
sent him to the University in Boston to pursue an engineering degree. And while he was in Boston, he took a part-time job at Quincy Market. Who's familiar with Quincy Market in Boston? Now, in the early 1800s, Quincy Market was not what we know it to be. It was the nastiest place on the planet. All those big nice buildings, they were slaughterhouses. People would bring their animals there, they'd kill them, they'd process the meat, package it up, ship it throughout the greater Boston area. Now back then there was no refrigeration, diseases, a lot of child labor, a lot of industrial accidents swept under the rug. Just an overall nasty place to work. But apparently they made a big impression on Sylvester Marsh. When he completed his engineering degree, it was the gold rush in America. So rather than come back to agriculture in New Hampshire with a degree that he
We're
couldn't
almost
use,
at the highest
Sylvester
way
hopped
to
on a
get up.
plane, headed off to California to seek a much larger fortune. Now he never made it to California. He made it only as far as Chicago. And he was a brilliant entrepreneur, always thinking about these out-of-the-box ideas. But he had the magic touch of translating those ideas into reality and making a lot of money in the process. So he was out in Chicago one morning, looking out at the plains and all the wild livestock running around, and how the transcontinental railway was connecting our country, north, south, east, west. And he has a eureka moment. He's thinking, forget about California. There's a lot of opportunity right here. Now, what his idea was, is that he'd partner up with the railroads, and he would create America's first, largest, and safest meat packing operation, using the railroads to distribute his product throughout the entire country. So that's what he did. 10 years later, he's a multi-millionaire and the father of the entire meat packing industry in Chicago. The stockyards, the whole infrastructure as we know it today. So we spent the next few decades out in Chicago, and we built the largest meat packing operation in North America. He became a billionaire by our standards. So by the
This is where the
mid-1800s,
cargo trains are.
Sylvester sold his company off. He figured it was time for him to retire and come back east. What a mistake. He got back east here, and he was bored to death because he was an entrepreneur who didn't know how to sit still. So he started looking for his next career. You like that high technology signal? Remember, Fred can't see anything, so that's how we communicate. I just told him the switch was set so that we won't derail if we proceed up the mountain. So anyway, Sylvester started looking for his next career. And while he was doing that, he hiked to the summit of Mount Washington. Got up there, he could see 130 miles in every direction. And he has another one of these epiphany moments. He's thinking, wow, everybody should have the opportunity to enjoy what he was looking at. So he didn't say much to anybody, and he hiked down, and a month later, the billionaire brought all his land up, and he publicly announced that he was going to invent the world's first mountain climbing railway to the summit of Mount Washington for tourism. Now, what do you think everybody did, especially in the railroad industry? They laughed at him. They called him Crazy Sylvester. They called him a lunatic. Who would want to throw their fortune away on an impossible project? But Sylvester didn't listen to any of them. He was his own man. Never give up kind of guy. Never quit. I can't was not his own vocabulary. So he spent the next 12 years or so trying to figure out how to get up this mountain. And he went through, like I say, dozens of technologies, failed dozens of times. And his breakthrough came when he borrowed an idea for a bicycle, the sprocket and the chain. Now, if you look out at the center of our tracks, you're going to see something that looks like a chain on a bicycle laying down flat. Everybody see it? That's what we call a rack. Underneath our engine, there's 4 cogged gears, and 2 drive and 2 braking cogs. Right now, our engineer has the drive cogs engaged, and they're riding in this rack, just like a sprocket on your bicycle, and powered by the engines back there, a 650 horsepower John Deere Marine diesel engine, and we're climbing up this mountain right now like a bulldozer, with hundreds of times the power of a conventional railway. So again, like I said, all the work's done in the center of the tracks. Very unique. All the work's done on the rails in a conventional railway. So Sylvester thought he was onto something, and in 1866, that's the year he really rolled the dice, and that's the significance of the date on the side of your benches. 1866, he built his first prototype steam engine, integrating the cogs, and he also built his first set of tracks up to the water tank. And that same year, 1866, he took his first successful trip up to the water tanks, and he convinced himself that he was now ready to take on the summit. And finally, in 1866, he incorporated as the Mount Washington Railway Company. And we all still work for the same company today. Now, how many companies can you think of in America that have been around since 1866? Not many, right? So again, everybody was so busy laughing at Sylvester, they totally missed all the progress he was making. Now they really thought he lost all of his marbles when one day he announced that he was hiring 300 Civil War veterans to complete the tracks up to the summit. And they completed it all manual labor, right? No excavators, no bulldozers, no power equipment, all manual in under 3 years.
So I'm redoing. I'm making another.
Now I want to show I love to read our history so I can share some things with you. I found something that I thought was really comical, but it probably wasn't if you were one of the original passengers on our railway. Now when Sylvester Marsh opened the Cog Railway, the original coaches didn't have sides. Everybody was exposed to the weather and the elements. All it had was a canvas top. And the only people that could afford to ride the Cog Railway were all the wealthy tourists that stayed in the grand hotels. They would show up wearing their Sunday bests. The women would have on long dresses and the bustles. Men would have on suits and derbies and top hats. Now back then, it was wood-fired steam engines. Gave you a really bumpy ride. What's that?
What are the numbers on the
Those are called tap numbers. They're basically reference numbers. If you broke down, we could radio in and say where we are. They know exactly where we are. So anyway, guess what the first problem the Cog Railway had when it opened up? Several of these wealthy people on the way up the mountain were bouncing out of our coach. Can you imagine they were falling out of their benches. These were buggy seats. They were level on springs. So the first thing they had to replace were the seats. And that's why you have these crooked benches that are stationary. They kind of keep you in your benches and keep you both comfortable and safe. So I guess every startup company has its problems. That was the first. Okay, the history is behind us. I want to talk about the grades next. The average grade, like I said, of our tracks is 25%. What that means is for every 100 feet you go forward, you rise 25 feet. Now that's very steep. You might have noticed a sign on a highway. Caution, 4% grade. Well, that's nothing to us. 25% is the average. And we're going to cross a trestle up above where the grade is almost 40%. Now, one cool thing about our grades is that sometimes, just sometimes, they can create illusions. I bet you guys didn't think that you might have an illusion today on the Cobb Railway. Well, maybe you will, or maybe you won't. Let's see what happens, okay? Coming up off the right side of our coach is the halfway house, sitting up there at 4,500 feet. And there's a picture window in the halfway house facing our tracks. Now get ready, everybody. When we pass by the halfway house, I want all of you to look out the right windows of the coach and into the picture window. You're going to see the reflection of our teal coach. I want you to notice how steep we're climbing up the mountain. Look at the window. Doesn't feel like we're climbing that steep, does it? Because you're in these crooked benches. Now, did you all get a good look at the building itself? Everybody get a good look at the building? Well, how many of you think that building back there is crooked? Put your hands up. Who thinks the building back there is crooked? Well, if you put your hands up, congratulations, you had an illusion. That building back there is perfectly level. You put a marble on the floor of the building, it doesn't roll. It's actually used by our track crew. So now that you know that the building is level, and you look in the picture window, would someone like to tell me who is crooked right now? We are, right? But what happens is your brain interprets the information the exact opposite of reality, making you think something out here is crooked rather than you. So again, if you put your hands up, congratulations for having the illusion. There's no right or wrong answer, by the way. And all of us who work on the Cobb Railway have this happen all the time on these steep grades. We're going to be crossing a trestle that I kind of mentioned to you. It's over 300 feet long and it curves to the left. And this is called Jacob's Ladder out here. When we get out on Jacob's Ladder, I want you to look out the windows on both sides of our coach. You will notice that we're over 35 feet off the ground. This is an elevated trestle. Now also, when we get out here, the grade is going to be 37.41%. 37.41%. Hold on over for a second. I don't want you to miss this view. Off the way, have a look. That's the top of the Lemonistical Reed. And that's Lakes of the Clouds Hut, run by the Appalachian Mountain Guard. To the left of the hut is Lakes of the Clouds. You can see the Lemonistical River flowing down the face of the mountain. To the right of the hut are the southern presidential mountains, Mount Monroe, Mount Eisenhower, Mount Franklin, and Mount Pierce. Let's go back to this 37% grade. For those of you who missed the last illusion, I got another one for you. Look at the back door of our coach right now. Everybody turn around, look at the back door of our coach. Would you believe the back door of our coach right now is 14 feet lower than the platform I'm standing on? Well, it is. You may not feel it because you're in these crooked benches, but we're going up the mountain like this right now. 14 feet lower back there. Now, if you think that's something, I'm going to do a little leg stretching exercise with you.
Yo, it's the steam train. You could see the steam coming out.
I'm going to say what I want you to do, and then I want everybody to do this. Ready? I want you all to stand up, hold on to the bench. Let me do this first, okay? Hold on to the bench. Take a couple steps backwards. And once you're feeling comfortable, sorry about that. Once you're feeling comfortable, I want you to let go of the bench.
Michael Jackson.
And I want you to stand up nice and straight, like me. Can you guys see how straight I'm standing up?
Yeah.
This is not magic. This is insanity. You gotta try this.
No way.
You won't experience that on any other normal ground. Make sure you put your feet together and make sure you lean forward so you don't go over backwards. You got this. You got this. Good job.
Oh my god.
Mom, I'm videoing all this.
I can't get it.
We're almost at the top.
Good job, everybody. All right, good job. Good job. Well, that's what a 37% grade feels like. Very difficult to stand out here. Now, while you're all trying to stand up, you might have noticed the trees on the right side of our coach. They're all getting shorter and shorter and disappearing. You all see that? It's all weather related. Once we get above our tree line on Mount Washington, all of our trees are going to disappear because they can't tolerate Mount Washington's severe winter weather. Now, our tree line on Mount Washington is only 5,000 feet. Anybody happen to know what normal tree line is on other mountain ranges, like the Rocky Mountains? Well, it's more like 11 to 14,000 feet. If you walk to Colorado at 10,000 feet, you got plenty of trees and forests. 5,000 feet on Mount Washington, you have nothing, boulders. And that's because you're at the home of the Rolls-Royce weather. Now let me tell you why you have the Rolls-Royce weather. A couple things going on here. First of all, Mount Washington is the highest peak in the eastern United States. But the more important factor is that Mount Washington happens to be perfectly situated directly in the path where every storm system in our country travels until it collides up there on Mount Washington with all the other weather systems. There's 4 major weather systems and about 25 to 30 minor weather systems. When they all collide up here, they form a single mega weather system that can produce any weather, any day of the year. You guys understand what I just said? Any day of the year up here, including the middle of July and August, we can get sunshine, rain, snow, sleet, hail, fog, thunder, lightning, 100-mile-an-hour winds, or any or all of the above. Back in 1934, the highest winds ever recorded on our planet. back in 1934, they recorded winds up here of 231 miles an hour. 231 miles an hour. And the week before this past month, they recorded the lowest temperature, minus 109 below zero. And if you look out your windows on the right, you can see the climate. It has no engine in it. It just shows in the turbulence of the clouds up here. They can fly up here for hours. It lands in an airport about 20 miles away. Wow. That probably came out of Whitefield, New Hampshire. So anyway, we put this all together. This can be a very challenging and fun mountain, but it can also turn very deadly and dangerous just like that. We have hundreds of biker rescues every year and about 3 to 5 deaths. So again, this mountain can turn very deadly. And if you look off the left side of our coach, you see the Golden Presidential Mountains. Mount Clay, Mount Jefferson, Mount Adams with the Twin Peaks. Finally, Mount Madison over there. And off the right side of our coach, you look outside, we are above tree line. All the trees are gone. Everybody see that? The only thing growing out here is alpine grasses, alpine flowers. Have a look at the granite boulders. Everybody see they're all covered with a green fungus? That's a plant called lichen. Lichen is the only plant that can survive Mount Washington severe weather, growing all over our granite boulders up here. Now, if you look to the left, this is called the Great Gulf. And right now we're looking down into northeastern New Hampshire, northwestern Maine, way out there in the hills on the right-hand side is Quebec. You can see Quebec from here. On the right-hand side of that ravine. Now we can see our destination up ahead. And that's the Sherman Adams Visitor Center. And when you get up there today, you're going to have 1 hour to enjoy everything inside the building and around the summit. Inside the building on the main level, there's restrooms, obviously. There's a post office, a restaurant.
What do you want us to get done first? Right first.
You gotta make sure you're not so friendly. My nickname is Railway to the Moon. And a lot of times these hikers will give us the Railway to the Moon salute, which involves turning around and dropping their trousers. So when we tooted the horn, I think they gave us the Railway to the Moon salute. If that happens, by the way, please do not return the gesture. So anyway, in the building, there's a restaurant as well, and a gift shop. We're down to the lower level. There's a museum down there featuring the Mount Washington Observatory, which is the weather station. And they have a lot of cool exhibits and videos of what it looks like during the 4 seasons of the year. There's also a second gift shop down there, where you can buy weather-related merchandise. You can buy weather instruments, you can buy books on the weather, and you can also buy channel merchandise as well. Take a walk to the end of our tracks. There's a third gift shop. It's run by the auto road. It's in a building that's chained to the mountain so it doesn't blow over. On that building is a very popular photography spot. There's a sign that says, this is where they measured the 231 mile an hour winds in 1934. So you might want to take a picture next to that sign. And also take a walk in the back of the building. You'll see the historic Tip Top House. It's been up here since 1853. Right next to it is the official geological summit. You'll see a sign that says Mount Washington, 6,000 288 feet. Take a short walk up there and take a picture next to that sign so you can prove to all your friends that you did in fact make it to the official summit of Mount Washington. And the other thing you want to do, there's a ramp back there. If you walk up the ramp, it'll take you up to the top of the building. That's the outdoor observation deck. You can see a lot of people up there right now. That's where you're going to get your best panoramic views. I'm looking behind us. Look at the views you're going to have. Probably 70-mile views in every direction. But make sure you go up on the observation deck. Now right here, these cairns, which are piles of rocks, are marking the Appalachian Trail. Anybody from Georgia? Nobody? Well, if I let you off right here, 1,850 miles that way is Springer Mountain, Georgia. 300 miles the other way, Mount Katahdin, Maine. This whole Appalachian Trail is 2,150 miles long. Takes about 5 or 6 months to hike the entire trail. Somebody ran this in 25 days. Get a lot of crazy people. So we're going to be arriving very shortly. Let me kind of go through the routine. You are the 3 o'clock A train, right? 3 o'clock A? Hold on to your tickets. You're going to need them to board your down mountain train so you don't have to walk down. You all have your tickets? Hold on to them. Now the way we operate here to shuttle those people up the mountain, I'm going to drop you off where the 3 o'clock A. You're going to have an hour up here. Once everybody gets off the coach, I'm going to pick up the 2 o'clock A passengers who have already had their hour up here. That's who I'm bringing back down the mountain. So you folks will not be coming down with me. Everybody understand how this works? But I promise I'll send up a 4 o'clock train to get you down. Okay? I promise I'll do that for you.
Thank you.
Now, that being said, make sure you take all your personal belongings with you because you're going down on a different train. Don't look for me. Don't look for Fred. Don't look for a teal coach. It'll be all a different color with a different crew. It'll have an A on it, however. And it's going to stop 1 hour from when you exit my coach, exactly where I drop you off. You all with me? Everybody understand how this works? Now you'll hear an announcement in the building when it's time to board. Don't miss your train. I would, if I were you, I'd set your alarm for about 50 minutes. And when that alarm goes off, wherever you are, be in front of the building. You know why? That last train, I should say the 4 o'clock train, that's your last chance out of here. If you miss that train, you're walking 4.5 hours back to our base station. So whatever you do, don't miss your train. Now we also reconcile accounts, and so the train that comes up, they know how many people I brought up. So they're going to be looking for 64 people. If they only have 61, that was perfect timing. If you only have 61, Fred's going to blow his horn like he just did. It was almost orchestrated there. If you hear that horn, book it to the coach, okay? It's your last train out of here. You're up on the roof or something, and you didn't hear the announcement. Now I need everybody seated for the duration of our trip. We're going to go through our last switch. Once we get up here, remember, Fred can't see. So I'm going to jump off the coach. Don't be alarmed. I need to guide Fred into our stop position and put the platform step in place. So again, for your own safety, please remain seated till I come around the back door and give it the okay. Now once again, my name is Terry, and Fred was your engineer. We really enjoyed taking you up the mountain today. Hope you got way more than a train ride with me and enjoyed all the history I shared with you about the, let's say, the Abenaki Indians and early tourism with the wealthy tourists and the grand hotels, all the history about the Cod Railway. Many of the ways we operate here you won't find on any other railway in the world. All the work's done in the center of the tracks, with the cars, the engines behind us pushing us up the mountain. Crooked benches. The benches flip, so you're facing the other way going down. So again, you won't see any of these operating practices on any other railway in the world. So we get some pretty good views looking into Maine. Out there about 9 o'clock is Sebago Lake in Maine. And that's Wildcat Mountain Ski Resort off the left side of our coach. Down in the valley is North Conway. And so finally, by the way, if you'd like to leave a little something for myself and Fred for a job well done, it's certainly appreciated, but not expected, but it is certainly appreciated. And with that, welcome to the summit of Mount Washington. Give yourself a big round of applause. You guys have been super, great group. Enjoy your hour up here.
Thank you so much. This is cool. I think let's give it to all my feet. Look at him taking care of us. It's like organized chaos. They really don't see
We're here. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. The first steam engine. Oh, never mind.